Hello, my name's Pastor Damien Rice, President of South New Zealand Conference, and this afternoon I just want to share with you a special message for the church in Ashburton, and also one that applies to other churches in times of transition affected by our earthquakes. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verses 1 through 14, the wise man Solomon says that there is a time for everything, for every season and for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Part of our experience through life is so very positive and blessed, and the parts of our life experience, both individually and as a church, can be quite challenging and difficult. And for many of our congregations, just like you at Ashburton, we've gone through many, if not all, of these experiences. As you meet today for the first time in the Baptist Church in Ashburton, a new venue for worship, away from the church that's been established there for so long, we want to extend to you God's blessing. And I want to assure you today that God has a plan and a purpose for your church. The passage goes on to remind us that God has put eternity in man's hearts, yet we cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to end. There's a bigger picture that God knows and God understands, and as much as we're able to, we seek to perceive and understand His will and purpose for us. And finally, the wise man reminds us that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nothing can be taken from it. God has done this so that people would fear Him. That which is already has been, that which is to be already has been, and God seeks what has been driven away. And finally, He tells us that God has made all things beautiful in His time. And we can be encouraged as we step out into this new venture, assured of God's presence, assured of His blessing with us, regardless of the experiences that we're going through, whether they're good or bad, and knowing that God will be with us. I want to encourage you to stay focused on the reason that we exist as a church. And as important as buildings and programs are, the most important thing is a vision of a church, a caring church, that knows, experiences and shares the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. And a church which is fulfilling its mission to make disciples of all nations as we share and proclaim the everlasting gospel in the context of the message of the three angels, a message of hope and of warning as we wait and look forward to the return of Jesus. Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 19 tells us, "I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" And as we try and discern and perceive and understand how God is working in His church in this time of change and transition, we seek to identify and understand these changes and these new things that we're going through right now. But I want to encourage you with the promise that follows in the next sentence. "I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." And my hope and prayer is that for the church in Ashburton and for other churches like Aranui and St. Martin's and St. Albans, all impacted by the earthquakes, and now in a time of change, a time of rebuilding, a time of gathering, a time for breaking down old buildings, and all of the things that go along with that, we can be assured that God will make a way. It may not seem possible to us, but God will make a way in the wilderness, and He'll bring new life to places where currently there is none. So may God bless you and watch over you, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy Sabbath.